Welcome friends to another r/am I the jerk video. Would you be the jerk for spying on your own wife? We'll find out, but first a story from Juanita Rodriguez. Am I the jerk for throwing my sister and her son out of my house? I, 35-year-old male, am a single father of 3 boys, 10, 7, and 3. Their mother died last year due to ovarian cancer. It's been a rough year to say the least. My sister got divorced 6 months ago and temporarily moved in with me and the boys. She has a son, my nephew, 9, who stays with us most of the time. My nephew and my 10-year-old are not the best of friends, but so far they get along fine apart from some teasing on both sides. A few weeks ago, my 10-year-old started telling me that his cousin was bullying him and being mean to him. He called him names, pushed him around, took his video games, etc. I talked to my sister many times and told her to talk to her son. We talked to the boys together and things settled down. Yesterday was my 3-year-old's birthday, so my whole family was here and my late wife's family as well. It was extremely emotional for everyone because it was the first birthday since my wife's been gone. The boys, 10-year-old and 9-year-old, started fighting again and I asked them both to calm down and behave. My son started crying and told me his cousin teased him about not having a mom. I choked up and asked my nephew if that was true, and he said yes, but that he's sorry. I figured I'd have a proper talk with him and my sister after the party, so I just told him what he said was really awful and he can't say it again. I comforted my son and we went back to the party. Before we cut the cake, my sister came yelling at me saying I had no business disciplining her child. I told her to drop it and we'll talk later. Instead, she said, "Besides, he's right. Kids need a mom." I had tears in my eyes by that time, and she just said, "See, it's even turning you into a wussy." My in-laws were crying, I was tearing up, the kids were upset, just awful. I told her to stop it and just leave me and the kids and the family to cut the cake, and we'll talk in the evening. She said, "Listen, we both lost our spouses, but at least I'm still a normal person." She stormed off. After the party, I told her she has 2 days to pack her crap and leave. She's begging me not to throw her out because she and her kid will be homeless. Am I the jerk for throwing her out? Listen, I feel bad for the nephew because they don't deserve to be homeless, but I don't see how you can let somebody who's so callous and cruel and rude to you like that stay in your own household, especially with your kids who are directly suffering because of sentiment from them. What do you guys think? Considering the 9-year-old nephew, would OP be the jerk for kicking them out? Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Our next story is from RoutineHat4545. Am I the jerk for snapping at my coworker and bringing up the state of her marriage? I, 28-year-old female, have been in this job for 5 years. I've also been married to my husband, 30-year-old male, for the same duration. Except for the year we were work from home, my husband, who's a florist, has been sending me a small bouquet of flowers every Monday. Think 3 roses, a small bunch of baby breath, just small arrangements. I have a small vase on my desk where I put them. This year, a new woman joined our workplace. The first Monday she was here, when I received my bouquet, she asked if it was a special day. Another coworker said that it was just a weekly gift from my husband. She made a face and changed the subject. But she started making comments every single Monday when the receptionist brings my gift in. Small things like, "Well, we can't all afford to waste our money on stuff like that," or, "Don't you think it's a bit tacky?" I never reacted to her jabs. I'm a pro at selective hearing. This last Monday, she went over the line in my opinion. She said, "I think your hubby's overcompensating. Are you sure he doesn't have a mistress?" I was pissed and I said, "Well, some of us love our spouses and like to show it. Not all of us are staying in a toxic relationship for the sake of keeping appearances," which was a low blow since I knew that she was having trouble with her husband. She started sobbing and left work early, and while every single person in the office says that I was in the right, that I was more patient than they would have been in my situation, I can't help but feel I went too far. So, am I the jerk? I think OP is not the jerk here, honestly, because it was a direct taste of their own medicine. It was about blow for blow exactly what they did to you, and short of hurt feelings and probably a general despising of you, you didn't really do anything to them. Like if you went and tried to get them fired, or God forbid you put your hands on them or something like that, then yeah, you would have been the jerk, but just what you did there is totally fair in my eyes. This next story is by Surgeon Colonel. Am I the jerk for snapping at my wife and asking her for 5 freaking minutes before she gave me the baby when I got home from work? My wife and I have a 9-month-old baby girl. Her and my wife are so very important to me, and I don't want anyone to doubt that. I'm an ER nurse. I love my job, and right now my wife doesn't have a job and is focusing on motherhood. I'm in full support of this and know that what she's doing is very difficult and taxing. But I think my job is sometimes a little more than that. I have really bad days. Like, I see the worst things a person could possibly see, and it used to not bother me, but since my daughter was born, it's so much worse. Especially when it's a younger woman or a little girl. I, however, don't let this affect my work, and I don't let my wife in on these things. She's a little fragile when it comes to things like this, to the point where she can't even watch horror movies. Recently, we had a car crash victim. She was about 8 years old and riding around on a bike. The driver fled the scene and she was in a bad state. Like, I could see organs. I knew we were likely going to lose her, and we did. Like I said, after we did our job the best we could, I moved on, got lunch, whatever I needed to do. Usually when I get home, I take the baby, but I was just too distracted today. I wanted to help my wife, but I just needed some time. I don't know why, but I just couldn't handle my wife's requests for help. When I asked her for a minute, she told me that she's been on her feet all day and needed a break. We had a small argument as I was trying to avoid telling her what I saw, and eventually I just snapped. I raised my voice and told her that, "Can I just get 5 freaking minutes to myself before you jump on me?" She of course was mad, and it started a much bigger argument as she's now convinced I don't value what she does. I don't think OP's the jerk in this situation, but I do think there needs to be a lot more communication laid down here. Maybe telling them what you did witness or an example of what you witnessed without really giving details would be a good idea. And just let them know how much it can wear down on you and how sometimes you just need a little bit to decompress properly when you're home off the job before dealing with things that are a little bit more work or taxing. By the way, if you're enjoying these stories, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons down below so you never miss any of my daily videos. Every video has awesome stories in it, like our next one from Walk a Mile I-5. Am I the jerk for telling my husband I won't be cooking for him anymore because of the comment he made? My husband doesn't know how to cook. He's also not a fan of the food I cook for my country of origin. Seeing him live off of fast food motivated me to learn to cook his family's common meals. It took me a while to get it done properly, but now I can cook an entire list of his favorite meals. He praises my cooking and encourages me to learn more. While we were eating dinner at his parents' house, I had to excuse myself to go wash my hands after I was done. I left the table and my husband was still eating. As I was making my way back, I heard his dad tell him to take it easy because he was eating a lot. He then asked my husband if I cook for him and if he eats well at home. My husband said that I do cook for him, but the food I make can only be fed to pigs, not humans. I was hurt and so offended. I showed up in front of him and told him I'll no longer be cooking for him after this comment. He was turning in his seat as I walked right past him, took my purse, and said I was headed home. He got back later saying it wasn't like that, and that even if it was, I should be happy he still eats my food when it's still not perfect yet. He said he was trying to protect my feelings, and I heard him when I said I won't cook anymore. I think OP is not the jerk, and I think the most upsetting thing about the situation is now it's like, how do you know when they're being truthful, when they're being honest, and when they're just straight up lying to your face just to make you feel better? The fact that they would go and praise it and encourage you to learn more, and then immediately turn around and say to their own parents, "Oh, that stuff can only be fed to pigs," is so two-faced, I don't know what I would be able to believe after that. Our next story is from Georgia Town 11. Am I the jerk for showing my husband proof that his mom offered to bring him steak dish to the hospital? My husband was in a car accident last week. He was staying at the hospital for his broken leg. Only me and his mom knew he was there. His mom and I don't get along at all. He tells me I'm overreacting or paranoid whenever I point out how she's mistreating me. He complained about hospital food, saying it had no taste, and asked me to make his favorite meal, which is a steak dish, and bring it to him at the hospital. Noting that steak isn't cheap where we live, and I didn't have enough time to prepare it, I told him I'll see what I can do. Then his mom said if I'm truly a supportive wife, then I'd make it happen. Once we went outside his room, his mom's tone changed. She suddenly seemed nice and said that she could see how exhausted I was, so I should go home and not worry about the steak dish, because she said she'd make it for him. I asked if she was 100% sure, and she said, absolutely. The next visit I showed up, and my husband asked why I didn't bring the steak dish he asked for. I saw his mom there, and I told him his mom offered to make it for him instead, and told me not to worry about it. He didn't believe me and was like, Mom said that? I'm not buying it. Mom, you really said that? Her reaction shocked me. She acted confused and said that I'm his wife and she didn't know why I'd expect her to perform my duties for me. I was confused and didn't know what to do. My husband seemed upset the entire visit and I waited till his mom left to talk. I swore to him his mom said she'd take care of it, but he said he didn't believe me. I pulled my phone out, called his mom and put her on speaker so he could hear the conversation. I said, didn't you say you'd make the steak dish and that I didn't have to worry about it? She replied, I did, but I obviously wasn't going to actually do it. I was just trying to help my son see how his wife is during the rough times and you took the bait. My husband raised his eyebrows. He got pissed. He called her later and picked a fight, then said no more visiting. She lost it, called me petty and manipulative, and blasted me on Facebook, saying I stopped her from seeing her son only because I couldn't get her to do things for me like cooking for my own husband. Now his family are criticizing me for this. I think it's pretty clear OP's not the jerk here. In fact, I'd struggle to find any kind of universe where OP could be the jerk in this situation. This is actually horrendous human being territory from this mom here. Imagine intentionally trying to tank your own son's relationship with his wife by trying to pit their trust against each other and lying to them. Just so shady and underhanded. I'm 26-year-old male. Am I the jerk for spying on my 28-year-old female wife with our baby and sending my mother to look after her? My wife and I just had our first baby. Recently, I returned to work after my paternity leave ended. It's been rough not getting to see them every day anymore, so to combat this feeling, I've been using our surveillance cameras to watch them through my phone. My wife knows about the cameras, but I haven't told her that I sometimes tune in just to see her and the baby. So normally at lunch, I'd pull out my phone, get to see them for maybe 2 to 3 minutes, then give them their privacy. However, one day this week, I was watching and she had him out in the living room and put him down. He was crying pretty loudly and my wife was off camera in the kitchen. His crying went on for about 5 uninterrupted minutes, and then I could hear my wife yell, "Shut the freak up," very loudly from the kitchen. I got very concerned. This isn't like her at all, and I wanted to make sure she was okay. Unfortunately, my boss said I couldn't go home early to check on them, so I did the next best thing I could think of. I called up my mom and told her what happened. She was as worried as I was, and I asked her to just go pop in and make sure everything's fine until I can get back home. So she did, and I was met with a flurry of texts from my wife. She told me that my mother showed up unannounced and said that I thought she needed to be watched. I told her that I didn't say that and I wanted to explain everything when I got home. When I did, she kicked mother out in front of me. I explained everything to her and she was livid. She said I was spying on her and that I didn't trust her to be a good mom, so I sent mother here. I said that I did trust her, but she wasn't having it and isn't talking to me. Am I the jerk? I think OP's the jerk for not communicating with their wife. I understand why they were concerned, but they should have called them up and just been honest with what they saw and try to talk about it over the phone with them rather than call their mom to go check on them. Would you guys agree with me that OP is the jerk in this situation, or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. Our next story is from InnerCombination747. Am I the jerk for planning a girls' trip on my wedding anniversary date? My husband, 42, and I, 37, have our 10-year wedding anniversary coming up soon. This has been a long year for the both of us, as I was diagnosed with cancer and have been dealing with the treatments for the past year and have finally been declared cancer-free. During the treatment, my husband's been amazing and has used almost all of his vacation time to make sure that I was being taken care of. Of course, this meant that he doesn't have any time to take a week off for our upcoming 10-year wedding anniversary to go do something fun. I of course wanted to celebrate being cancer-free, so I booked a tropical getaway trip with one of my best friends, so I could get away and celebrate. Due to the scheduling of my friend, the only time that worked best for her was during the same time that my wedding anniversary falls on. I figured this would be fine since my husband couldn't take any time off to go anywhere anyway. I told my husband that I was taking the trip after everything had been booked, and he ended up getting very upset and saying that taking the trip on our anniversary date and not discussing any of the plans with him prior to booking everything made him feel like he didn't matter. Of course, this isn't true. I still love him, but I really wanted to get away and have some time to have fun again. I told him that once he has some vacation time saved again, that he can book us a trip and we could enjoy some tropical time together then. I really didn't want him to feel like he wasn't allowed to do anything fun. Am I the jerk for planning a trip with my friend on my wedding anniversary date and not informing my husband until after everything was booked? I think OP is the jerk for booking everything and then talking about it afterwards. I don't think there's ever really a great situation where you can just drop a bombshell and say like, hey, you know our wedding anniversary, our 10-year one, yeah, of course. Yeah, so actually I went ahead and booked a tropical getaway with my friend. But hey, listen, whenever you got time off again, we can go hang out somewhere too. It just seems disingenuous. I know I'm really playing it up, but still. Our next story is from Throwaway AITA 1223. Am I the jerk for calling my friend names for believing the words of a married man? So I have a friend who we'll call Chloe. We work in the same place but have known each other longer. She's talking to a guy in our office called Mark. At first, I thought they were only friends until I noticed a little bit of flirting going on, and I asked Chloe about it, and she told me that her and Mark were having a secret, mainly emotional but partly physical, affair, and that she feels bad but can't stop. It's been going on for months now, and I was only told about it a couple weeks ago. Now, on to why I might be the jerk. I was coming into work today, and I overheard Mark say that he and his wife are expecting. I said my congrats and then went to work. I told Chloe about it, and the first thing she did was text Mark about it, who's now glaring daggers at me, and he told her that it wasn't true. I asked Chloe why she told him that because I was the only person there. I figured if she knew now that his wife was pregnant, she would stop the affair. She said, "I'm not his keeper, he can do what he wants." I proceeded to turn around and call her stupid, naive, and desperate if she believes his lies. She then went to the bathroom to cry. When I told my friends about it, they said I could have said it more gently to her, as she's clearly falling for him and that I'm the jerk. So, am I the jerk? I don't think OP's the jerk because OP was telling them the truth. Just because they want to live in ignorance and believe something that, straight up is a lie to their face, that's their prerogative. Our next story is from Bad Liar. Am I the jerk for going back on my promise that all will be forgiven if my boyfriend's friend pays for the damage he did? I, 23-year-old female, and Ray, 24-year-old male, have been living together for 4 years. We bought a house when we were still in college. I'm a software developer, and my work is productivity-based, and I usually work late afternoons till 3 to 4 a.m. This is even mentioned because Ray's 3 best buddies love coming to our house. They all say it's great for everyone. Their girlfriends aren't upset they're loud at their place or out drunk at a bar. And I really don't mind the ruckus, as I blast Metallica and often scream while I code. I really don't mind that they have guys' weekends at our house, as long as Ray cleans up the mess afterwards, which he does. The 4 of them got really drunk a month ago and decided it was really the best idea to put on my makeup, $500 to $600 of skincare, eyeshadows, lipsticks, just half used and with hair pieces in them. Insert me vomiting a little. After I tell them all off, everyone save for Cole, 24-year-old male, agrees to split the cost and pay up for the damage. I take the cash and I look at Cole expectantly, the last one of the bunch. He says no way is he giving me $150. I can screw myself for all he cares. Ray got into an argument with him, and Cole stormed out like a little kid. Good riddance. Ray apologized profusely and said Cole will come around. I brushed it off and said I don't really need him to come around. He's gotta apologize and pay for what he owes. Until then, I don't want him in my house. 2 weeks pass, and Cole comes by, which is a little strange because Ray's out. I let him in, and he walks in the living room and tosses a pile of crumpled small bills on the couch. There, enjoy. I'm sorry. I guess I'm the only one that will question your pricing. I asked if he's accusing me of lying about the worth of my makeup, and he goes, "Accusing? I'm telling you, no way is that crap worth all that much. It doesn't matter. I gave you the money and the apology. I don't want to deal with this anymore." I kicked him out, texted Ray that Cole will enter our house over my dead body, and went to do work. Ultimately, I ruined something beautiful. They tried once to stay at someone else's place and got the cops called for being loud. It's an apartment building. Now somehow I'm at fault. Cole's let Ray know he'll apologize for real if I lift my ban, but oh my god. Can you apologize because you were wrong and a jerk? Cole's girlfriend texted me as well. She started off nice but got sour at the end. You promised you'd let him off the hook if he pays up. He did, and you went back on your word. Arguably, you're worse off than him. Can you not ruin a schedule that works well for everyone? Come on, OP, stop trying to make a point. They've all been friends for nearly 20 years. I'm starting to wonder if I am too harsh. As I've seen the phrase around here, is this the right hill to die on? Am I the jerk? Things to keep in mind, they're loud because they play video games and drink beer. They're not drunk every single weekend. I wanted to clarify because people seem to think they get very drunk every week. My makeup's in a bathroom that everyone uses. I have used old lipstick and shadows to do their Halloween makeup, and we've used some cheap drugstore makeup for different games on get-togethers. With that said, still unacceptable to go through my stuff without clearing it with me. I am willing to forgive it because the majority of them were apologetic and offered to immediately pay for the damage. Ray is upset with Cole and backed me up. However, they're not going to stop being friends because of this particular event. Each to their own here, I'm not upset with Ray about that. I think OP's not the jerk, didn't apologize, called OP a liar, questioned them, was being rude outright. I think because they're longtime friends and it is such a good thing, at some point with some amount of apologizing, maybe you could let them back in, but I don't think OP's a jerk for dying on that hill. Our next story is from Goes Up Thursday. Am I the jerk for telling my sisters they're disgusting people? I have 3 older sisters and they all passionately hate my girlfriend. 21, and I'm 21 too. I've been dating this girl since we were in the 8th grade, and it's like they put her in this box. My girlfriend will admit that in her teenage years, she had an issue with rudeness. She could be a smart aleck or arrogant, all of it boiling down to her family having money. Unfortunately, she had no problem standing in the kitchen of my house arguing with all 3 of my sisters and arguing over really dumb stuff. As she's gotten older, she's in fact grown out of that and looks back at her teen years with a lot of regrets. Because of work stresses, as well as losing both of her grandfathers, a cousin she was close to, and an aunt in the past 2 years, she leaned heavily into comfort eating and going a bit too much into drinking, and now finds herself 80 pounds over what she should be. We wondered if it was a thyroid thing or a PCOS thing, but it isn't. She's in a vulnerable position, and I'm trying to make sure that not only am I being extra gentle and careful around her, I'm trying to make sure others are as well. My sisters make that very hard. It's sad that they can't see that she's not that 15 or 16-year-old that they used to fight with. They make lots of comments to me about how her weight is karma, how she deserves this, and pretty much everything else in that same ilk. They think it's funny. I, God knows why, was on a Zoom with them a few nights ago. It was supposed to be just this shoot the breeze, have fun session, but when they responded to my telling them I was headed to the grocery store by telling me to make sure she doesn't eat all of it on the way home, I told them they were disgusting people and signed off. Quickly got 3 texts asking me to take a good look at who I'm dating and what her reputation is. Am I the jerk? I'm gonna go with a firm everybody is the jerk here. OP seems kinda judgmental about their partner, and when their partner was bullying their sisters, kinda just stood by on that. The sisters, you don't really need to explain too much, they were also being jerks back, and the girlfriend was being a jerk. I think this is a lovely trifecta going on here. Our next story is from Frito Fiend. Am I the jerk for not allowing my girlfriend to have dangerously hot showers? I've been dating my girlfriend for 8 months. Things have been going so well that when she started a project based in my part of the city, she decided to stay at my place temporarily rather than do the daily commute. I noticed that when she showers, she has the water so hot that steam billows from the bathroom when she opens the door. It leaves everything in the bathroom wet. I've been telling her to use the dehumidifier in the bathroom as she showers. She told me that she showers with the window open and turns it on afterwards because the air was too humid for the dehumidifier. I put my foot down and told her it wasn't optional, and she ended up breaking the dehumidifier with the steam. I told her that enough was enough, and that if there's no dehumidifier, then she would have to shower at a normal temperature like everyone else does. When she comes out of the bathroom, her skin is red. What she did instead was she started locking herself in the bathroom while the steam dissipated so I wouldn't catch her turning my bathroom into a freaking sauna. Well, last week, I had enough of it. I took the lock off the bathroom door. The toilet's in a separate room, so there's still complete privacy when using the toilet, by the way. Now she can't steam out my entire bathroom without me knowing. I knock before entering and make sure it's not too steamy in the bathroom and that the temperature of the water is normal. She hasn't said anything about it, but since I did that, her mood's been low with me. She started spending weekends at her place, and she's slowly been taking her stuff with her. I told her that I didn't do it to be nasty, but the hot showers were damaging my bathroom and probably her health too. She just says, okay, and it's fine. I think OP is the jerk because I think bathrooms should be designed to handle that kind of setup. Like if you turn your bathroom into a sauna, you shouldn't start having functional issues in your bathroom. Like the fact alone that you said you had a dehumidifier in the bathroom, I'm not sure if I remember ever hearing anybody say, hey, when you take that shower, make sure to turn on the dehumidifier. That just sounds like you got a problem with your bathroom. And our final story of the day is by stepdaughter49. Am I the jerk for wanting my stepdaughter to switch schools in her junior year to live with us? My husband and I have been married for 2 years and have 5 children. His daughter from a previous marriage, 16, my 2 sons from a previous relationship, 13 and 15, and 2 children together, 3 and 1. My husband's daughter lived primarily with her mother until she was in the 8th grade, when she was offered a scholarship to go to a very good boarding school for high school. I've never agreed with the idea of sending teenagers away to live away from family, but her mother and my then fiancé agreed that it would be beneficial for her. They drafted a new custody agreement to reflect the new school schedule. My husband moved out of state, so we always had summers and holidays anyway. When I married my husband, I thought that she would just be a day boarder, which seems better than full-time, so I let it go. By the time I learned the truth, 2020 was in full swing, and removing her wouldn't have been safe even if she wanted to leave, which she didn't. Fast forward to 2022, she's 16 years old and a junior. I recently learned that her mother moved back to her home country 6 months ago and has been letting my stepdaughter manage her own money. This means that there's not even a parent in the same state or even side of the country for my stepdaughter. She's completely independent in her day-to-day life. My stepdaughter has every weekend unsupervised to do whatever she pleases, and independent access to not only multiple major cities, but is only a day trip from another country that she has dual citizenship in. I've seen Facebook posts of her going to art shows in other states without her having even pretended to ask one of her parents for permission. This isn't acceptable. It's not okay for a teenager to just go live her own life, especially to this degree. We have 2 sons that are only 1 and 3 years behind her, and they're starting to see the double standard as well. I would never let any of my kids do the things my stepdaughter's doing. She's my child too, and this needs to stop. She needs to change schools to be either with her mother or with us and be part of a family. My husband says that it's different because she was raised differently and is just more responsible, but that's bull. If he actually thinks she's not being a normal 16-year-old with that level of freedom, he's lying to himself. My stepdaughter loves her school, of course, and is very resistant to changing schools for all of 1 year of high school to leave her friends, and no doubt doesn't want to actually have rules. I'm still pushing the issue, and now my husband and stepdaughter are mad at me for trying to change the status quo. The boys are mad at me for having double standards, and other family members are mad at me for either over or understepping in my role. Am I the jerk? Do they got a police record? Are they getting busted for buying illicit substances? Do they have a 35-year-old boyfriend that they stay with all the time? I think OP's just coming off as heavily controlling. And while it's probably not the most ideal thing for a 16-year-old to be so independent, I don't think it's unreasonable that they do have that level of independence. God forbid they go to an art show. This isn't them posting a video of them clubbing on Snapchat or Facebook. They're going to an art show. How dare they? I think OP is just coming off as very controlling and a jerk. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So of all these stories I've read today, which is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't yet, if you could like and subscribe, that would mean a lot to me. Whatever you do, whether it's liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, all of it helps grow this channel and I appreciate the heck out of it. So until next time, I'll see you all tomorrow with some more stories.